physically one person could accomplish all of this. And I don't believe that they could. Right. I think that there has to be, at minimum, a second person involved.
Right.
Yeah, agreed.
Steven's finished his. I'm going to go into mine.
Ish, but we can continue.
I don't think...
Before you start, I have one question for Steven. Where do you think he went? What do you think happened to Xavier?
So I'm not sure on that, but I think that if we're to believe that the Mafia, or like you said, the DEA, which I'm not sure how the DEA gets involved with this case.
So, again, there's a large port right nearby where Xavier disappeared from. DEA works internationally. I mean, it's not an international agency, but it works with other agencies internationally to stop drug trade, which would very easily happen, or could very easily happen, through that port.
So are we thinking he was a drug dealer of some sort?
I think that there could potentially be a...
That might have been the last... There's a point in the episode where Anne Sophie says he was doing everything he could to make money.
That's true.
He was trying
and we know that he had at least some type of connection in some way to the U.S. We don't know exactly what that connection is. And it is a very elaborate lie to come up with the DEA being involved. And
now, do you think that letter might have been a cry for help?
I think
the letters came after all of the victims were already dead, and he was already on his merry way.
But I think that could have been.
Well,
I think this is okay. So I'm just going to start with. I think that this is on the more unlikely end of the spectrum for things that could have happened. But I watch a lot of conspiracy videos.
She watches a lot of Shane Dawson, guys.
And I full-heartedly believe that our government agencies are involved in cover-ups, and especially with international.
Well, we know they are
instances.
Have you ever? We'll switch off just a little bit just to go into what Dara's saying about our government being involved in cover-ups. We know they're involved in cover-ups. You ever heard of the Franklin cover-ups?
Well, yeah. I'm just saying that I think that the letter could have been... I think it could have... And again, this is on the more unlikely end of my conspiracy theories. But I think that the letters could have been him essentially going outside of the cover-up and blowing the whistle.
Yeah.
And basically saying...
That's what
not necessarily a cry for help, because it's not, what help can there be?
Right, but
I mean,
what I'm
he got
saying
away
is
fine.
like what I'm saying is he somehow slipped this to, because that is an elaborate letter that was sent. So I'm saying like,
but it could also be the cries of a desperate man, just like, hey, I don't want you to find out what I did yet, so I want you to think I went to the US.
That's what Bruno thinks. Bruno thinks that literally the letters were just something that he put out there because he wasn't ready yet. He needed more time.
What I'm wondering is, it seems like based on his leaving and everything like that, he didn't leave at night. He went places.
Wasn't hiding.
He left a paper trail. And I think whoever actually did the killing wanted them to see him go to these places. Now, it's possible the places they told him to go to places. It's possible they didn't tell him specifically places to go, but make sure that you leave a trail. Yeah. Make sure people know what direction you took. So he may have picked places that was dear to his heart.
So
knowing he was going to leave his home country for the rest of his life.
But do you think he actually left? Do you think he was smuggled, air quotes, smuggled out of the country, or somehow managed to get himself out of the country? Or do you think he
Murdered
just
and dropped
managed...
in the ocean?
Either dropped in the ocean or managed to somehow get deep enough into a crevice in these mountains that when he killed himself, they just never found the body. I mean, it's not a perfect
the other thought
I don't
is
think
that
he
maybe
died
he's
in the
still
mountains.
somewhere in France.
True story.
I don't think he died in... If they killed him, or if he killed himself, I don't think he died in the mountains.
No.
But there has to be some kind of significance of why he or whoever wanted him to be seen going in those mountains.
Yeah.
I think he had something to do with it personally. I don't think...
Obviously
he
had something to do with it.
I do not think, not for a fucking second, do I think that this guy's innocent. He's just like it.
He had. There's no question he had something. Like there's a part that he played. The question is whether did he play that willingly? Did he do that because he wanted to, or was he forced?
I mean, that's a
question. Was it forced?
Like I said, I don't think that the victims... I don't think they died in their bedrooms at the very least. Even if they died at the house, I don't think they died in their bedrooms. I think they all...
I think they were
I think they all died in one room. I think maybe they were like... I think maybe, my dad, when I was little, he had a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old. I remember when I was 16 and I stayed with my dad for a summer, he was like, let's make a blanket for it and just sleep on the floor in the living room.
Okay, but where do you think they were killed then? Because there was no evidence in any room. There's no evidence outside. Did he walk to the middle of the street and blow all their brains out?
No, what I'm thinking happened is I'm thinking that he probably... Okay, so there's a couple of ways that this could have been done. He could have had an umbrella that he put over the head of whoever he was killing, laid them down on the tarp, and then shot them. Any blood spatter would have gone onto the umbrella as opposed to...
But it's still going to drip.
I think it's more likely that he put him on a tarp and shot him through a pillow.
Yeah, but there would be blood splatter on the ceilings and walls.
Why? Not if you put a pillow in between the gun and the head.
That's fair. That's a good point.
How the hell... I mean, that has to be pretty big, especially if Dara is saying that 22 isn't that powerful of a rifle.
Yeah, a 22... it's going to depend on the specific gun, but most 22s are small enough that young children can fire them comfortably. So we're not talking about, we're not talking like, an AR-15 or AK-47 or even a 7mm, sniper rifle type power shot. We're literally talking about...
Is this like a step up from a BB gun?
Yes, like barely.
Actually, that's exactly what it is.
Think that's why
hearing
you had
you
to
say
shoot
it,
them all twice?
hearing you talk about it, I kind of understand a little bit better because honestly, that's the gun that my mom wanted me to get for self-protection.
Glad Dara's on this episode because
we
have a little bit more gun knowledge here.
22s are very small. They're not high powered.
Which she also pointed out to me because I was complaining about the sound. And I mentioned that in real life, a silencer doesn't exactly completely muffle the sound of a gunshot.
Right, but 22s, according to Dara, are already pretty quiet.
Yeah, they're fairly quiet to begin with, and then you
add a silencer,
and then especially add a potential piece of deafening fabric, sound deafening fabric in between, whether it's a pillow or a blanket or.
Well, the whole reason
there's still going to be a sound, but it's going to be so minimal that it's not going to wake.
A neighbor's not going to,
yeah.
Especially at 3:00 in the morning
when everybody's
if
dead.
Everybody's already dead asleep. Then it's very possible he could have shot 14
shots. Essentially,
it would have been 14. It wouldn't have been 14 shots. It would have been 12 on the first night, and then 2 the night before.
Yeah,
or the night after.
But I think that again, it's more on the unlikely end, but I mean, we're
I
also
think
ignoring the fact that government agencies are, conspiracy theory wise, pretty well known for covering up crimes and
Literally.
cleaning crime scenes.
I mean, to be completely fair, you're not wrong. When I mentioned earlier the Franklin cover-ups, they literally covered up an entire town
Yeah.
worth of molestation and child sex trafficking.
See, I honestly believe it had to have been someone else in that room with him. Like I said, whether he did the shooting or they did the shooting.
I think he did the shooting. I think the only thing he didn't do was dig the holes and move the bodies.
Well, what I'm saying is, if it was him and he's trying to get away, the woman said that the shutters are always open. He would have known that.
So he closed the shutters.
So
I
the
think that he
shutters
closed the shutters on purpose.
Or somebody else closed the shutters.
Right, that could have happened. I think that the shutters were closed and the note was placed up there to add to the theory, because he knew that if he took everything and just made it look like they had all moved in a hurry, it wouldn't be weird for the shutters to be closed, because if they had just moved in a hurry,
what I'm saying
they'd
is,
close the shutters.
if he just straight up killed his family by himself with no assistance, whatever, and he wanted to get away.
I think he did it on purpose. I think he purposely closed those shutters to make it look like the house was about to go up for sale or the house was about to go back up for rent.
What I'm saying is, I think it's more likely that he either closed the shutters or somebody else closed it, because I feel like if he did it, he would have left the shutters open. Because
it wouldn't have signaled.
It wouldn't have been nearly as suspicious for his neighbors.
He clearly didn't leave the house the day up. They say that he stayed in the house until he left town.
But when he was gone, the shutters were closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be way
But that's
more...
why I think...
Well, the shutters weren't closed until he left town.
Right.
The shutters were open the whole time that he stayed in the house, and his family was buried under the terrace.
But the neighbors said that even when they went on vacation,
the
shutters would stay open.
If he knew that he was going to write, whether we think the letter is real or not, if he knew he was going to write this letter, he wanted it to look like they had moved. He didn't want it to look like they were on vacation. He wanted it to look like that house was going back up on the market. So he closed the shutters on purpose.
Y'all are saying the same thing two different ways, essentially. So kind of gotten a lot of Steven's opinions, a lot of Kezaya's opinions.
I want to hear your opinions.
Okay, so like I said, my crazy unlikely theory is that somehow this guy is actually connected to, the DEA and Interpol, and they came in and wiped out his whole family and hid him away as some sort of agent someplace else. Crazy unlikely theory. Not what I really think happened. What I really think happened is that he has some sort of accomplice that he decided, I'm tired of living this life where I have no money. I'm about to lose everything as it is. So forget this life. I want to go start something else. And him and his accomplice go through with the murders of his family. I think he was originally planning to leave his eldest son alive to continue on the family name after he is gone, and then decided, that's a horrible idea, and went through with murdering him, and then took this pilgrimage to a place that he knew very well and knew that he could get away. Honestly, I don't think that he committed suicide.
You mentioned earlier that you thought maybe he had another family somewhere. Yeah,
I think he might have had another. I think he had another life built and waiting for him to go to. This life had fallen apart, and he decided, I'm going to move on to something else.
Well, another family would also go into my theory of like mafia or the government, because they killed his family, so how much leverage would someone have over him if he had another life, another wife, another lover, another child.
Especially being in nobility,
So
that would be a big
that
deal.
could be it could be as simple as, we've already killed this family. If you want to keep that family, you need to go to these places. You need to leave yourself a trail.
Yeah, I'm not going quite that extreme. I think it's more likely that he just decided. Well, not even that he went crazy. I think he had just gotten to a place where he was in such desperate financial straits and there had no way of recovering it. And it's even said that he's an incredibly vain and proud man.
Yeah, that's why Bruno thinks
so
he didn't kill himself.
He was like, I can't make anything right in this life. I'm going to be a disgrace to my family and my lineage and my legacy anyhow. So let me just do away with it and let me go somewhere and start fresh. And I think he already probably had a place and a person in mind to help him with
Actually, when you say it like that, it almost sounds like the Chris Watts case that took place in Colorado last year.
It's just... You just leave your family, damn it. You just
well,
leave
that's
the damn
the same
family.
Thing. That's
Don't
why I
fucking
say.
murder them.
That's why I say it sounds a lot like the Chris Watts case because Chris Watts killed his wife, his pregnant wife, and his 2 daughters, and his plan was to let them go missing and never be found, and then marry this Nicole Kissinger.
Yeah.
So it sounds a lot like that when she explains it that way.
Yeah, I think the most likely, for me, that's the most likely thing to have happened is that he had just decided I can't make this life work anymore, and I've got something else, someplace else that's going to make me happier, and just decided to do away with it all. But the more fun theory is that he's somehow involved in a government agency and they helped him come in and get rid of a mess and disappear.
I guess I just don't know crazy people. So I have a hard time to believe that someone just offed his entire family, didn't kill himself, and gleefully left.
Well, I mean, Chris Watts didn't kill himself either, and actually had no plans to. He hit it. I mean, because Kezaya and I watch true crime videos a lot.
Yeah, we watch things constantly together.
I'm not saying he didn't.
It actually happens more often than you would think that people would rather kill their family than leave it. It happens so often.
Chris Watts, literally the only reason that Chris Watts killed his family was because, and he said it, he said, I never wanted to have kids. I never wanted to marry Shanann. It was her that wanted to get married. It was her that wanted children. I wanted to live a bachelor's. They were together for I think close to 10 years. They had 2 babies together. They had a third on the way. Like when he killed his family, everybody was shocked, and he made it seem like they made it seem like it was a missing persons case. Was
there any kind of, based on family, friends, blah, 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 did anybody have any, notion that he was capable of this?
Nobody had any notion that
Chris Watts or
Watts, because according to this, no one really thought that this man would be
Nobody thought that Chris Watts...
Nobody thought that this man was capable of doing it, but also nobody knew the real situation. Nobody knew...
True.
So, I mean, when you're talking about... They don't go into it, but in super deep detail into who Xavier really and truly is, other than to say... He was a great father, but he was also very vain and proud.
Well,
which leads me to believe he's kind of a narcissist. So
that's exactly what everybody said about Chris Watts too, was that he was very vain and he was a narcissist, and that's why he killed his family, because he would rather kill his family than file divorce.
Yeah, be a failure.
I just if he did it by himself willingly without being coerced, that the only way that makes sense to me is whoever helped him had to have had some kind of training or knowledge on doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. Somehow they got incredibly beyond possibility lucky.
That's way too lucky. That is way too...
So where do you think he went, Miss Dara, since you don't think he killed himself?
I think he probably ended up... I think he ended up somewhere probably in Central America. I think his friend is right in that. With his language skills and his looks, being able to fit into a country where the majority of people around you are dark-haired, dark-eyed, darker-skinned, makes sense. It's easier to disappear when you look like everybody else.
Yeah, not only that, but he spoke fluent Spanish anyway. French is very similar to Spanish.
Yeah. I think he's probably chilling somewhere in Central America.
Do you think the person that helped him was anybody in that documentary? One of his friends? Neighbors?
There's nobody in the episode that really sticks out to me as would have been the accomplice. Bruno would have maybe been the only one.
Was that
That was the best friend.
That was
the one who looked like
ugly,
a very
ugly French Robert
Downey Jr.
Robert Downey
Very
Jr.
ugly, fat French Robert Downey Jr.
as Kezaya pointed at him out as.
But even when he's talking at the end, comes across as genuinely disgusted that he even
so you don't
believed
think that the person that if someone helped him.
No, I think it was somebody that was completely unknown to everybody else. I honestly think that it was
could have been somebody from this new life that he had.
Yeah, I mean that's just a theory, but yeah, I think it was somebody that was unknown to everybody else.
I feel like mafia or the government was more like... I'm sorry. I know it's outlandish, but the way this...
I think it's the more fun theory, and I think it would be the more fun theory to explore in depth, but we don't have any evidence to back it up.
That's my evidence.
Yeah.
It is such a clean murder, and I think the one thing these people allowed him to do is to put the religious figures, the crosses, like, yes, they killed him, but, we buried him. Sure, whatever. You want to put that there? Because I do believe he cared about his family to an extent.
I think he cared more about himself. And that's the thing. I won't take away from him that he was an incredibly involved father and that he did, until he absolutely couldn't anymore, provide very well for his family. But it was found out that he had lied about his business success, that he had lied about his financial situation, and he had not just lied to the public, he had lied to literally every member of his family as well.
It also goes to suggest that his failed businesses, is it possible that somebody gave him some kind of loan or something that caused this to... There's
so many different possibilities, and that was one of the things...
the mafia.
I mean, that was one of the things that bothered me with this particular portrayal in this episode, is that they don't give us a whole lot of background information about what was his business, what was it that he supposedly did, how did he support his family for so long? What was it? They just don't go into it. And it bothers me that he is portrayed as this incredibly loving person, and then literally the next breath,
he killed his family.
He's the only suspect in the murder. And the thing is I don't think there's any way possible for him to be the only suspect. I think he is definitely the number one person they need to talk to.
Well, they just didn't find anyone else that would fit.
But they didn't look that hard. They literally didn't look at any other possibility other than this man carried this out by himself.
I don't believe that at all. No matter how this ended, whether it was him, whether he was forced, whatever, somebody else was involved.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Absolutely.
All right. So,
Is
there
that
anything
it?
else to add?
Don't trust the DEA.
Don't trust the DEA.
And don't kill dogs.
Please
Don't-
don't kill dogs. She
or
doesn't give
children.
a fuck about the kids, man.
Don't kill
children.
dogs.
Don't kill children. Jeez.
I mean, I feel like killing children goes without... Don't kill children goes without question. But don't kill dogs. Like, why? I like dogs.
She likes the dog. She likes the dog.
She watched Pet Sematary and the child dying means nothing to her.
I mean, she named her child after a bunch of fucking characters in horror films. Her kid's name is Aiden.
Yeah, so if you ever watched The Omen or The Ring...
This is just her everyday life.
I mean, I named my son after an X-Men
mean,
Your son shares the name of the evil guy.
Yeah, literally.
Alleged evil guy.
Listen here. If you're gonna keep using that alleged shit, I'm gonna keep calling you a bitch because he did it. I don't even give a fuck. He did it.
Well, since Kezaya knows he did it, she can go in there. She can prove it. It's fine.
I mean, everybody knows he did it. They don't know where he is, so they can't charge him with anything. It's not that they're trying to figure out who did it in this case. They're trying to figure out where the fuck this guy is.
Nah,
We've already had an issue with you assuming that you're right.
Listen, buddy, I need you to shut up.
Nah, I mean, he definitely played a part,
He was
but
involved.
there's no way that he did this by himself. There's just no way.
No way.
And anybody who thinks that he did
Is out of their
is
mind.
a dog killer.
Is a dog killer.
And I don't condone that.
We just need John Wick to come in and save everyone.
I need
don't
Benedict
care about
Cumberbatch
family,
as
but-
Sherlock on this case, please.
What?
I said I need Benedict Cumberbatch as
Cum-
Sherlock on this case.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Do you know he can't say penguin right?
Okay, we're getting a little.
I mean, did you also
Off
know
top.
that he was in a Shakespeare show and he yelled at some guy in the audience because they were videotaping him? He was like, "Put your fucking phone away!"
Where are we
But he
going?
says penguin 12 different times.
Oh my God.
12 different ways.
All right.
And his name is Benedict Cumber. What the fuck ever.
Cumberbatch. Anyways, all right. So, Dara, do you have anything you want to plug?
No.
No. Okay.
If
Kezaya?
you want to contact us, you can contact us on the Dragon Blazer production fan page or on the brand new Unsolved Comedies Instagram page that I just created a minute ago.
The only thing I will say though is if you by some weird fucking chance have
If you know
any
where this guy
idea
is.
where this guy is, please go tie him up and put him in a trash bag and deliver him to the French authorities.
And make sure you duct tape the bag shut.
Or call our contact unsolved.com as the show that we just watched and we
Yes.
are talking about
Yes.
suggests to catch him.
Yes, but if you guys do have anything you want to tell us, or if you guys would like to follow the show from now on, there is a brand new Unsolved Comedy Instagram page under the name Unsolved Comedies. So,
And then
There's that.
I also have Dragon Blazer Pro and on Twitter and Dragon Blazer Productions, also on Instagram that I'm still trying to figure out Instagram. So
He doesn't know how
Dragon
to do it.
Blazer Productions, a Facebook fan page, and a Dragon Blazer Pro Twitter. You can contact us and come up with your own theories. We'll talk about it on the show.
yeah,
if
if you would
send
like
it
to,
us.
go to the Unsolved Comedies Instagram page, unsolved_comedies, and tell us your theories in the comments. We'd love to actually see what you guys think.
We also have, let me get it real quick. We also have an email.
It's unsolvedcomedy@gmail.com.
I thought it was Unsolved Comedies.
No, it's not.
I.e.
It's not. I just used it to create an Instagram page. I know what it is.
They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Shut up! Listen.
Where's my accounts?
I don't know. You're an idiot.
We literally have the blind leading the dumb here.
I mean, to be fair, I hope I'm at least the blind, because I'm not as dumb as that fucker over there.
No, you're totally wrong. He's definitely the blind.
I mean, he does wear glasses. That's fair.
I mean, that's true.
And you should be a blonde.
Alrighty, guys. Well, I guess we should probably call it a night. It is 12:50 in the morning where we are.
And I've been on the road for 2
She's
days.
been up. She's literally and she slept in a hotel bed last night. Let me tell you, Dara is not nice when she's been sleeping on hotel beds.
I've been very nice this podcast. Believe it or not.
Outside of the podcast, you're not very nice.
Ever.
That's really.
Yeah, there was a lot less anger and yelling that I was
I was
expecting.
honestly assuming to get called like a bitch a fuck ton more throughout this podcast.
Well, I think it's interesting that on this one topic, we seem to pretty much agree that this guy did some really screwed up stuff, and, so did potentially a government agency or the mafia or somebody. So, it's just, I think that this particular case is not particularly polarizing, at least based on the information that we have. But it is a very interesting case and unsolved in that they have never found him to conclude it.
Yes. But, Steven and his bitch ass has to go to bed.
I don't have to go to bed.
You're going to have to go pick up your son tomorrow morning.
Look, my bitch ass has to go to
6.
fucking bed. Good to go. I've got a whole last day.
All right.
So long and good night, everybody.
And don't be on our next episode of Unsolved Mystery.